Welcome to Skypodcast. Watch out for a new episode every Saturday. I just checked the Skypodcast private Facebook group, and a majority of these topics, both in the email and in the group, is about manipulation. When we started this podcast, was I already pregnant? Or had I already given birth?
We started the podcast pandemic.
Yeah, Scott was born already.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've had 2 rounds of pregnancy in this podcast.
3 na.
No, I had already given birth to Scotty.
Oh yeah?
When we started.
Oh yeah.
I remember our first episode was Toilet Goes, and then my stomach wasn't big then. Grabe, no? Sometimes when people tag me through clips, it's like weight fluctuations.
Oh, and nakikita ko na we've done it long enough that I see the difference in age.
Really?
Yeah, I can see ako. Sobrang payat ko.
Yeah.
And like parang, yeah.
Haggard tayo dito. Dito fresh tayo.
Dito hindi pa ako naliligo. You know, what's most interesting is I was in an event, segue lang ng konti. I was in an event kahapon and I was surrounded with parang ano siya, fashion event. So, bihira lang ako nag-attend ng mga fashion events. But this one, may mga lumapit sa akin, mga 20, 25 yung mga edad. And they always mention the podcast and how it helped them navigate through career choices, love problems, all these other things. And, parang, and then yung topic namin parang, wait, parang nagpo-podcast na rin ako din. Yung mga tanong nila. So they actually were very, very thankful. Sabi niya, we really listen to the podcast because
so nice.
It's relatable in a sense wherein the things that we have experienced when we were at a certain age, sila din dinadaanan nila ngayon, and just knowing that everybody goes through it, or like having someone to relate to makes them feel better.
So, sinishare lang namin yung positive reviews ng Sky Podcast. 5-star. So throughout this podcast series that we have, Slater and I have gone through, I think at the start, we've gone through like random topics lang. This just kind of like people eavesdropping on conversations that we have here at home. So medyo everywhere yung topic. Yep. It's evolved to Letters from the Sky, which we still have up to this day. And it's a very popular episode series of ours.
Yes.
And now, parang nababaha na tayo sa Letters from the Sky. In fact, I just checked the Sky Podcast private Facebook group for the past week. And then it's like every day there's so many problems that our Sky Sims ask each other for opinions about, right? And a majority of these topics, both in the email and in the group, is about manipulation. Isn't that interesting? Na parang when it comes to friends treating them a certain way, or not even just friends in relationships,
lovers,
family na, normal ba to? Parang they're questioning, is this normal, or am I being manipulated to acting a certain way?
I think that's mas na-articulate din yun ngayon kasi ang dami ng mga buzzwords like gaslighting.
There's a word for everything.
Breadcrumbing, or ano ba yan?
Ghosting,
love bombing.
Emotional cheating, or I don't know.
Yeah, so we kind of compiled a list of all these things, and
Later we'll do the honors.
I think ikaw talaga dapat eh. So we're gonna go through each and every one and kind of like give our thoughts and review natin.
Diba? Of the ways of manipulation that we've experienced or we've noticed from the letters.
Okay. So gaslighting. Ever had a friend who made you question your own memory, or that's kind of like gaslighting. They'll deny the things or blame you for misremembering.
Example.
So parang we have this argument all the time. You don't put up the toilet seat. And then sabi ko, ikaw kaya? Ikaw yun eh.
You're gaslighting me.
Or parang pwede kong sabihin din na, ikaw naman magbaba. Hindi ko naman kasalanan yun.
Is it like putting false memories in my brain?
False, like, it's not just false memories, I feel. So
false
this
accusations?
Is like a false accusation that if you're feeling bad about something, pwede kong sabihin na, kasalanan mo yun. Instead of like, totoong kasalanan ko talaga.
Hey, my sister just did that to me, although I feel like unintentionally because she loves me, but she just did that to me recently. I remember we were having lunch with her kids and my other sisters. Yeah. So 3 sisters and then 3 sisters na anak ng isang kapatid ko. So parang they were the kids, they were gossiping about yung mga kasama nila sa school. So sabi ko, girl, stop gossiping, hindi yan okay. Tapos sabi ng ate ko, ano ba, they're learning that from you. Ikaw kaya you're such a gossip, blah, blah, blah. When we were younger, ikaw, you would always gossip. You'd always say this, say that. I'm like, talaga ba? Ganun ba ako? Like, oh, I feel so bad that I'm a gossip, blah, blah, blah. And then my second sister was like, that's not true at all. Chris doesn't gossip. It's you who gossip. Sabi ko, kinagaslight ako nito. So, ganun. Tama example.
Yeah, I think so. I think so, yeah. From how I understand it. Pero the thing about this is it's very, very hard to draw the line. Like, if someone did that to you, you would kind of like question mark yourself. You would question yourself na, am I being gaslit? Or am I be at fault? Especially sa atin na we tend to be more introspective. Like, parang,
baka totoo yun.
Baka nga ako yung mali.
Oo, baka hindi ko ginawa on purpose. Baka napansin.
Kasi sinabi niya, and this is a person that I trust, so baka ako nga, maybe I need to change or I need to do something about it. And sometimes when you're being taken advantage of, hindi mo na alam na ang lalim na pala, na parang it's not actually my fault. Diba? So that's kind of like the tricky situation there.
I feel like especially if you aren't so secure with yourself yet.
Yeah.
It's very difficult because especially if madami sila tapos sinasabi you're like this, you're like that. Diba?
Yeah.
It's hard because how will you know if makinig ka ba? Minsan hindi ba makikita yung sarili mo, so dapat makinig ka. Pero minsan yung mga sinasabi sa'yo hindi rin totoo. They're trying to manipulate you.
Yeah.
So ang hirap.
So ang hirap, especially if you don't have that self-confidence. Pero sa akin din, I don't want to be called stubborn for not listening also. So yun yung balance na problema. There was actually a study, I remember, a long time ago na nabasa ko. They did this experiment, social experiment on college campuses. They would approach a random person and yung mga friends niya and yung mga classmates niya, sinid nila ng something. Like, approach this person and just say, hey, okay ka lang? Like, I don't know, nothing, no
context.
Or like, parang, are you feeling okay? And then the next person would be, hey, you look a little, down. And then, are you sick? Ganyan. So parang, after a series of this, that person na sinasabihan ng ganyan, would actually start feeling sick. Physically, magbabago yung posture, yung
parang placebo, gano'n.
Oh, and he would actually physically feel tired and sick and parang namumutla daw. Which I think is kind of like gaslighting. So that's kind of like the danger here.
Dude, it's also kind of like planting the seed, right? Like, for example, there's a couple that's doing well. Wala naman. Okay sila ng couple. Tapos yung isang friend sasabi na, oh my God, feeling ko your boyfriend's cheating on you. Or nakikita ko yung boyfriend mo, ganito, ganyan. Or, your boyfriend was flirting with me. Something like that lang.
Yes.
Diba, hindi mo na maalis sa utak mo yun.
Oo.
Diba? So planting the seed is kind of like a form of manipulation also. Na it will make you question what you know is true.
Yeah.
It's scary. No?
Alam mo yung mga kaibigan mo, like, let's say for example, you have this new friend and then, I'm good with this person. Like, he's cool. Yeah. And then there'd be one other person that you trust and say, no, hindi ko type. Napansin mo na ito yung ginagawa niya. Then you see it and then like, oh nga no.
Yes, that happened also a number of times na parang
I'm sure it happens to everybody.
defend sa friend namin kasi parang dami nila sinasabi about our friend, and then the next time we hung out with this friend, we're like, holy crap, I can't unsee it. Like, sana hindi nila sinabi sa amin. Diba? Totoo yun lang.
So I think it's just important to know that may happen. I think it's helpful just to know that exists. But it's a very tricky situation to navigate.
Hindi siya black and white.
No. I think perhaps asking others for opinions, like people you trust, na parang, am I still doing this right? This is just this one person that says I'm like this. Kasi especially tayo, we have tendencies we want to please everyone. Like naturally, we want to please people. So parang nakakaloko din na every single criticism that comes your way, you have to do something about, and like, dinidibdib, diba? So kailangan alam natin kung hanggang saan tayo.
Maybe surround yourself with people that you trust, or if nagko-question ka na, katulad ng kapatid ko, kina-question ko na, gossip ba talaga ako? Maybe ask someone from a different situation.
Perspective.
Like, different group of friends.
Yes.
Or hindi mo lang nagkonsabo sila eh. Like,
well, if nagkonsabo talaga sila, maybe it's time for an intervention and it's time for you to change because there's multiple people na telling you.
Yun na nga. But if it's just from the same core group, right? My point is, if it's this group telling you that parang nag-plant sila ng seed at hindi mo alam kung totoo or hindi, tanong mo sa ibang group. Nakita ba nila or hindi
sa'yo? Well, kung may ibang group ka.
Oo.
Para for me, if it were my barkada and it's a big serious discussion na parang, ay, usap tayo later, I feel like no, ganito, you've changed or whatever, I'd really take a listen.
Yeah.
Because it's about the intention behind it also.
That, to me, that's very important. It's happened a lot with my friends na parang may intervention talaga at kinausap talaga sila. And syempre may falling out kasi it's awkward, right?
Yes, very, very awkward.
When your friends tell you, like a group of your friends tell you, like, hey, you're acting this way, we don't like it, a lot of people are talking about you behind your back, you have to change.
Yeah.
Understandably, they're coming from a really good place, and being that friend na ikaw yung messenger, mahirap din yon. Like, I've been there. It's really hard to be that person. But ikaw on the receiving end also, syempre natamaan din yung pride mo.
Yes.
Diba? Kasi you don't see that you're doing that or you're not doing it intentionally. So, ang daming mga falling out din na naganap. Pero feeling ko, it's nice to also know that the intention behind it is not to ruin friendships.
Yes.
It's not to make you feel bad. But in fact, your friend who's telling you, your friend who's a messenger, is being a good friend by telling you something that others can't tell you
Yes.
to your face. So, sinasabi niya sa'yo para magbago ka.
Yeah.
And then, people won't talk about you na behind your back. Diba? So, parang,
kasi mahirap din talaga for them to create that friction. It's a big step na parang malaking bagay na siya na
kinausap ka.
kinausap ka na.
Oo, true.
Okay, guilt tripping. When someone highlights your mistakes or expresses disappointment to make you feel guilty, and then you end up doing what they want.
Guilt tripping?
Ito yung pinaka-ayaw ko. Pag gini-guilt trip ako, like, I don't see it as manipulation because nakikita mo agad talaga and like parang, well, maybe it works for other people but pag ako gini-guilt trip ako, nakikita ko talaga, naiinis talaga ako agad.
Example lang, ano yung mga gagawin ng mga tao na naiinis ka na? What do they guilt trip you about, example?
Di ba, I always tell you na parang, I'd rather you say it to me straight. Like for example, and you don't do this, but for example, grabe talaga, ako na lang palagi naglilinis dito sa bahay na to. Ganyan. Oh, you should have done this to me. Parang,
Siguro like, oh, you didn't even give me flowers nung Valentine. Si ganito, ganyan.
yes.
Nagbibigay. Or, I saw ang ganito, nag-date sila, tapos ako wala.
Yeah. Yung parang just say it straight.
Yeah.
It doesn't work for me. It doesn't work on me.
I understand where it's coming from because girls, well, especially ako, I'm a very non-confrontational person.
Oh.
And girls, correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of my friends and I expect or parang we want, it would be nice.
Na automatic.
Na automatic or like hindi mo na kailangan sabihin. Kasi kung kailangan mo sabihin, uy, buy me naman flowers. Nawawala yung joy of receiving flowers na, alam mo yun, you ask for it. Or hug me naman, tell me naman that you love me. That was me before. Na parang hindi ko talaga magets bakit hindi siya automatic. And then I'd feel bad when I don't receive it. That was really me before. But now, being married to you and being with you for 10 years, alam ko nang, guys, women are from Mars, men are from Venus or whatever.
Baliktad.
Like, iba talaga. Like, iba talaga ang brain ng babae and lalaki. And the sooner that I understood that and didn't make war with that, parang I made peace with that, parang mas peaceful na yung life ko. I mean, okay, it would be nice nga if naisip ni Slater na mag-date kami. Pero hindi na naisip busy siya. Ano gagawin ko? I'm not gonna hang him for it. Like, it's such a small thing. So, I'll tell him, like, hey, you know what? I wanna go out on a date. Nice time date me naman. It's not as romantic, but parang...
Sa akin, okay lang naman yung parinig na from time to time, but yung parang gini-guilt trip ka na talaga, you're made to feel bad about certain things na parang ang lalim-lalim na I'd rather we sit down and have a good conversation about it so that we can resolve it properly.
Yeah, it's just not romantic that way.
It's very practical.
Very practical. Pero I think for me, what I would suggest is magpa-cute ka na lang instead of guilt trip. Na parang make the person feel bad, tapos mag-away pa kayo after, tapos mag-argue pa kayo. Masyado siyang emotional and stressful. Siguro pa-cute ka na lang. No, date me naman. Tapos naman tayo. Di ba? Para mas light lang. Hindi siya ganun kabigat. Ganun.
Next, isolation. When a person tries to cut you off from your friends and family, and they do this to gain control over you.
Paano mo i-isolate yung isang tao? You can't like lock them in a room.
Yeah, I like, this is like ang maisip ko yung mga documentary sa Netflix yung parang this person is taken away from
Grabe naman yun.
pero yun yung
Yeah.
I don't have personal experience pero meron kasi mga ganyan but I'm sure that there's levels to it.
Yeah.
And like if you don't have access to any other support group parang nagbabago din yung mundo mo eh.
Yeah.
Yung world mo nagbabago din. So yeah.
That's so true. We were just watching this Netflix documentary recently.
Si Chris mahilig sa
I
mga
love-
ganyan disturbing documentary.
I love real life documentaries. It's my thing. Okay. So I was watching this thing on Netflix. But I forgot the title, but it was about this Mormon group that parang was pro-polygamy. So parang
Polygamous group parang.
polygamous group na parang bawal yung polygamy sa Mormonism. So parang nag-separate sila. And then the leader, fast forward na lang to in summary na lang. But the leader took the whole clan to another place that's so isolated, built a city there para no one can contact them at all. Pero wala silang outside influence. Di nila alam na mali pala yung ginagawa nila.
Yeah, and it's hard for them to exit that group because they're like in the middle of nowhere. They don't have access to anyone else. Like I can see it happening. I just can't talk about it from a personal experience.
Pero talagang manipulation. Kasi from birth, they're telling you how to think. They're training you, di ba?
Yeah. So naisip ko lang kasi, it can happen, especially like, I've had a little bit of experience with this when, alam mo yung sobrang controlling na relationship na sometimes, don't go out with your friends, dito ka lang sa akin. And then it starts to like, diba?
Okay.
Like, one of my earlier relationships, meron kaming na, yung tipong, okay, bawal kang umalis kasama ng any girl, kahit classmate mo lang, kahit bawal ka umalis. So parang, I think in a way, but I don't think it's manipulation in a way, more of like,
Young, stupid love.
definitely felt a lot more isolated. I've even had one of my friends, different man na relationship na sinabi niya, you know what, pag nasa relationship ka, we don't like you. Kasi we lose you for that entire span of the relationship. Maybe perhaps, actually sabi niya to, maybe perhaps pag nasa relationship ka next time, kasi na-break na kami and then that's where my friend came in. Next time, don't lose your friends so that you get a little bit more perspective and you have a lot more support while everything is happening. And parang in a way, parang sinabi niya, para at least hindi yun lang yung mundo mo.
Yeah, I feel like I get you because if you're just with one person the whole time and then your girlfriend is so restricted, you can't see your friends, you can't go out, tayo lang. And then she starts manipulating you or you don't know she's cheating on you or all of these things that are making you act a certain way. You don't have that core group of friends that will tell you, hey Slater, gising. Gising sa katotohanan.
Yes.
Ganon.
Yeah.
Hindi yun normal.
If the person you're with is cheating on you, pero parang you're so dependent on her or him na even perhaps financially, ang hirap talaga. Ang hirap to exit that, especially if you've burned all the other bridges. Eto, love bombing. Romer's favorite
We
word.
just talked about that in the last podcast.
Yeah, and when you kind of didn't understand what it was.
Yeah. Oh my God, I'm not a Gen Z. Sorry.
This is the shower of love, words, actions, and behavior in the early stages of a relationship. Beware, it's a tactic to gain control.
Oo. Akala ko as in mahal ka lang talaga ng tao pero hindi pala. Manipulation pala siya.
Yeah, I don't think it's just in a relationship sense. You can do this.
Friends also.
Oh, there's like a book. It's called Influence by Robert Cialdini. And kasama to sa mga tactics of influencing. Although sa kanya, it's more of like, hindi siya sneaky in a way, wherein parang ina-explain lang talaga niya yung mga, how people influence each other. So parang sinabi niya na, you give this person, let's say for example, a Coke and hindi mo kilala, parang they're kind of like indebted to you. So I think the experiment was just before they took a survey, binigyan niya ng Coke or soft drink, and then that person is more likely to buy raffle tickets after that.
It's a mild form of love bombing and a mild form of bribery.
Or even, meron pa experiment na a waiter would give the check and then place a candy. So, lalaki daw yung tip. And then, binago nila na the waiter would bring a check with a candy and then pabalik siya. Wait, nakalimutan ako. Dinagdagan yung candy. So, lalaking lalo yung check. So, I think it plays on that na gusto natin mag-reciprocate. We don't parang you treat me kindly, I treat you kindly, but it can be taken towards that love bombing. Yeah.
Have you ever experienced love bombing before, or friend bombing, friend love bombing?
I think in the industry that I'm in, a lot of people want to give me things because sa construction, let's say for example, the contracts are a huge amount. So pwedeng sabihin ng supplier, later we'll take a trip to this, we'll do that, or gusto mo sa bahay mo ganito, ganyan. It's not really love bombing in a way, but for me, I try to just be aware of it, and sinasabi ko na agad na
Don't bribe me.
hindi naman don't bribe me, but
Okay lang daw.
okay
guys.
lang. Let's work.
na daw siya.
Let's work on the merit of
The product.
If you want to give this to me after we close, let's say for example, Slater, we want to take you a trip to China to see our factory, a free lahat, and we'll 5-star hotel and everything. Sabi ko, sige, after we close.
Yeah.
Pag,
If truly I like your product,
Yes.
it's not like I'll buy because you took me on this trip.
And I'm very careful lang because I'm very aware of the fact about mayroong concept of ethical erosion.
I was just gonna say, alam mo, sync talaga tayo.
Dahil kinukuha mo.
Sabihin ko na sana.
You know what? Bigay ko tong project na to sa'yo, or let's say for a restaurant, bigyan kita ng para sa bahay niyo naman to, ganyan. So it starts off with that, and then, reko mo naman ako sa manager mo, tapos bigyan kita ng ilang percent. So, reko lang naman eh. Don't worry, we'll still give them a good price. And then you parang nasa-shock ka sa system.
Eventually, hindi ka na magre-recommend pag walang bayad.
Yes.
Eventually, yun na yung side hustle mo.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
we always talk about this ethical erosion, right? And we're so careful that we don't get into it because I feel like in today's world, it's so easy to fall prey to it, no?
It's so easy to fall prey, and I feel like that's how people that come into, let's say for example, I want to be doing good for the world, and then eventually nakikita natin na, bakit nag-iba yung ethics? I feel like hindi niya nakikita, especially when you're surrounded with people doing the same thing, that it becomes normal.
It's a manipulation. Okay, next, playing the victim. It's when someone always presents themselves as the victim to gain sympathy or to evade responsibility.
Yeah, I personally know a few. The diretsa na meron top of my head. Sometimes they feign illness. Alam mo, what you're doing is really, alam mo naman.
Sino?
Like, I'm like, very, very, lang.
Wag na.
Alam mo, yung heart ko, alam mo naman, weak yung heart ko eh. So, alam mo naman may sakit ako eh. Bakit mo akong sinistress? Yung parang ganyan. Or, parang yung blood pressure ko lumalakas.
Pero, malay mo, totoo.
Sinistress ako. Alam mo kasing parang it's a tactic na after a while. And I'm sure everyone had experience with this, and we've had friends na ganito na you kind of like want to slowly step away from.
I think yung experience ko with playing the victim is more of yung kaka-break up lang tapos paawa. Like, no, I understand that, you feel sorry for yourself, but if you keep feeling sorry for yourself and every single thing that happens, like, my boyfriend na nga broke up with me, late pa yung order ko, hindi pa ako makakain, tapos ano pa yung car ko, nabangga pa yung car ko, ako na lang lagi lahat. Parang it's calling to the world to give you more negative vibes.
The energy, yes. Or sometimes, like, in a relationship, like, meron tayong mga kaibigan na lumalapit sa atin, alam mo, itong boyfriend ko, ganito, ganyan, he's not a nice person. Like, sinisira yung boyfriend to play the victim. And then when you talk to the boyfriend, parang, normal lang naman siya eh.
Yeah, he seems normal. Parang two sides of the story.
Yeah. So parang, I mean, I understand if you talk about it once or twice and you're actually like, mag-share ka lang, pero parang nafe-feed sila na energy sa awa mo.
Yeah.
So we both experienced that.
Yeah.
So I've never been in a relationship though na parang ganyan. So I can't say anything about it, but I can easily imagine na kung ako yung nasa other side, at first, okay, I'll take care of you. Well, depends on the person.
Ako, meron akong friend na gano'n sa amin. Friend ko siya. Tapos after a while, like at first, you feel sorry for the person, you want to help the person, you want to do what you can, bigay mo lahat ng oras mo, lahat to help. But then, parang 10 years na, ito pa rin yung narrative
Yeah.
Diba? And then parang sobrang nag-change na yung buhay niya. Super dami na nangyari. Tapos kawawa ka pa rin. Parang it's also a very draining feeling for your friend to always be absorbing that negative energy with you, because you have to remember na lahat ng sinashare mo, I believe, is energy, diba? So if ako sa vlog ko, super happy, positive, fun, ikaw na nanonood, happy ka din, diba? Like comedy yung pinapanood mo. Pero kung lagi na lang yung pinapanood mo drama, or in my case, psycho thrillers, lagi kang na-propraning. Or if it's depressing, lagi ka na depressed. So parang paikot-ikot lang siya. So careful.
Parang dati, when I broke up with my girlfriend, I'd like call a few friends, like, oh, nagsasabi ka, let's drink. And like, they're supportive. But you do that for a month, 2 months, and then paulit-ulit pa rin. I'm sure we've all had broken-hearted friends. Ako din, ganyan din. Like parang, eventually, yung friends mo, huy, okay ka na.
Yeah, or di ka na sasagutin.
So, which is, on my case, kind of happened, and then they called me out, and then parang, like parang, hey, it's like, hindi naman siya in a very, very straightforward, pero parang gina-guide ka to be out of the rut. And as long as you're willing to accept that, may healthy lang talaga na momentum towards a more positive mindset.
There was a time in my life na I was dealing with a lot of anxiety and so many bad things were happening to me, and I got the advice na you keep focusing on all the bad things that are happening. Life is always good and bad.
Yeah.
Pero kung titingnan mo lang yung bad, yun lang talaga makikita mo. What about all the good things? Kasi pwede mo na i-shift yung focus mo eh. Na instead of papansinin mo yung bad, what if papansinin mo yung good? Ay, ang sarap ng kain ko today. Ay, pagbukas ko ng faucet ko, may mainit na tubig. Diba? So parang ganun lang. Simple mindset shift. Okay, next. The silent treatment.
Oh.
Have you been ignored until you give in to certain demands? That's the silent treatment. It's emotionally damaging and a form of control.
I think that's one of the reasons why I love our relationship, because we don't do that. I've been in relationships wherein patigasan. Ayaw mo magsasalita, ayaw mo mag-text. Sige, ako din. So like 3 days would pass, and then hindi kami nagte-text. And then it's just waiting for who would be the first one to apologize, or who would be talo kasi ikaw yung nauna mag-text or mag-ano. So it's very detrimental to the relationship. Nakakapagod talaga na after that experience, parang sinabi ko talaga sa sarili ko, this is not healthy, and I don't want to have a relationship wherein pag nag-away kami, hindi ko alam kung kailan tayo ulit mag-usap.
It's like an ego battle.
An ego battle and a psychological battle. Meron pang nag-aaway tayo, pero nagpo-post din ako sa social media, pinapakita ko sa iyo na I'm having fun, bahala ka dyan. May mga ganyan pa.
The reason why we work love is because you're such a lolo and I'm such a lola. Pagod tayo lagi. Ayaw din natin ng games. Kaya, okay tayo. Di ba? Okay. Ako, silent treatment. I feel like sometimes I give you the silent treatment, but it's not really silent treatment. It's more of, iniisip ko pa kung paano ko sabihin or kung worth it mo siyang sabihin.
I don't think it's silent treatment. It's actually you're just processing it.
Right?
Okay, nagalit ka. So parang process mo muna. You don't also want to, like, for example, you do something to me na parang
na-off ka.
Off ako. Like parang, I'll just keep quiet. Na parang, you're processing that anger, that negative emotion. Sasabihin ko ba to sa'yo o hindi or no? But parang hindi yung tipong hindi tayo mag-uusap pa. Or after natin mag-away, hindi na tayo mag-uusap. Bahaya ka dyan.
Ako, hindi talaga ako artista. Wala ako any plastic bone in my body. Hindi ko ma-hide. What you see is what you get. Talaga. So, kunyari may kaibigan man or ikaw, love, that does something to me that I'm not okay with. And it takes me so long pa to process. So, siguro na-feel ng ibang tao na I'm giving the silent treatment. Honestly, I'm just processing it. No. And I don't want to face you na hindi ko pa siya na-process kasi parang hindi ko pa alam how I'm gonna act. Or, di ba? Parang I can't pretend to be normal when it's not normal. So, I'm just gonna iwas and process first. And then go. So, baka akalain ng mga tao silent treatment.
Posible.
Pero hindi.
Posible.
Anyway, sige. Hindi ako nagmamanipulate. Next is ghosting.
Yeah.
Which is when someone abruptly cuts all communication off with you without informing you or letting you know.
Yes. I don't, like, sa ghosting, is it like a manipulation thing, or is it just that You just don't want to address the situation. Alam mo na anong well, kind of.
Yeah, parang silent treatment din na ako nag-ghost ako kasi hindi ko alam.
I think it's a silent treatment, pero ayaw ko nang na mag-text ka sa akin. Like, I just don't want to deal with you anymore. Which,
maybe.
Tapos hindi mo sinasabi kung what you're feeling.
Or,
and you're not giving closure.
In terms of manipulation, it could be like, okay, if you don't give me what I want, I'll ghost you. Diba? I'll ghost you muna and then you'll come crawling back to me. Ganon. Pwede rin.
So, parang silent treatment lang din.
Siguro. Okay, next. Shaming. This is when someone makes you feel bad about your actions. They might publicly embarrass you, criticize you, or blame you. You.
Yeah, it's kind of like bullying in a way na parang you're made to feel little or belittle someone. Yeah. So,
hinapahiya ka if you don't agree with a certain person or if you don't do something, parang blackmail na rin.
Yes.
So,
I think also it can be used to like make someone feel inferior so that you feel more powerful just by belittling someone. So it's kind of like bullying in a way. Yeah. So
there's also blackmail here. It's called emotional blackmail. And this is when someone uses your fear, obligation, or guilt to control you. So parang feeling ko it's the same as shaming, right?
Yeah.
Kasi parang nakakatakot to when someone uses your fear. Diba? Parang when I was reading this earlier, I was like, oh my God, that's so nasty.
Especially in this day and age where like you can do a lot of these things through social media.
Yes.
And you can do threats on social media. Sobrang it's a scary world.
So be careful. Be careful. Yeah.
Okay, aggressive jokes. It's when someone insults you or teases you under the guise of humor. It's a way to belittle you without seeming mean. So pareho lang siya sa mga like bullying tactics na
I hate that. It's so nasty.
Yes. Yung parang underhanded compliment, yung mga ganyan.
We see that a lot in movies. And it makes me feel so uncomfortable. Even when I'm not part of the conversation. Pag narinig ko, parang, oh my God, naiinis talaga ako.
Yes. Yeah. But have you ever, like, can you recall a moment where you've experienced this?
I have, for sure. Hindi ko na maalala right now. But I've experienced it a number of times. And I remember the feeling na ang bigat na parang, gusto mong may comeback ka, pero hindi din pwedeng bastos yung comeback mo kasi pasotol yung passive-aggressive eh. So, gusto mo sumagot ng passive-aggressive pero at the same time, you don't want to be that person na ganun. So, I remember that feeling all too well. I don't like that feeling. Since we're parents now and we have a lot of kambatch na parents din, we always have conversations about our kids at the dinner table. Yeah, like, oh, you know, my 3-year-old son is like this. How about your 3-year-old daughter? My 8-year-old son is like this. What about your 8-year-old daughter? And consistently, we've been getting feedback na, ay, buti pa kayo, 3 boys. Kasi yung pain daw na may experience mo as parents is physical pain and exhaustion. Paglalaki. Kasi ngayon, di ba, 2 kids, tapos buntis ako sa 3rd, they attack me and they find humor in it. They like attacking me. I don't know why. But then all of my friends that are girl moms, especially pag medyo matanda na yung girl, sinasabi na, oh my God, my daughter is like, psychologically, ina-attack ako na parang, sakit-sakit sa puso, it's making me question myself as a mom, like all of these things.
Yeah.
And then naalala ko when I was, I think 12, basta first year high school, sabi ko, oh my God, ganun din ako sa mom ko. I don't know what I was thinking, but I just remember some moments na my mom really came up to me and said, what's going on? Like, why are you like this? Tapos dun din ako namulat na parang, oh nga, bakit nga? Like, why am I so angry with the world? Bakit ang dami kong karga? I don't know if it's a girl thing. Ako lang ba?
No, I mean,
pero
mga lalaki, meron naman din mga ganyan na mga moments. I just feel like mas physical, I would say, or like, hindi siya physical, but more direct.
Siguro.
I feel. Well, from my experience with you and me, so ganyan tayo sa relationship natin when we need to talk to someone na straight talaga. Gusto ko straight. Ikaw, gusto mo mas
No, before, gusto ko ganun. Pero sabi mo, hindi yun okay. So, ngayon, ikaw na lang magsalita. Silent treatment.
Yung pasakal kasi, yung mga like we just talked about it, like parang, I feel like it doesn't address the problem in a long-term way.
No, it's correct. I think you're right. Because also, if you do the, like pasikot-sikot, minsan yung kausap mo, hindi rin gets yung gusto mong, di ba?
Ano ba talaga?
So, if you just say, 1 + 1 is 2, and even if masakit siya pakinggan, at least alam niyang eto yung gusto mong sabihin.
Yeah. I tell you, I told you about this, that way of being direct, but without being combative and without being aggressive or hindi ka nagagalit. So I've learned this throughout the years na mayroong mga methods to the madness.
You know, so many times, I can't count the number of times that I've asked Slater to be my voice because I can't. And sometimes he sees me so stressed out about the situation and he tells me, why don't you just tell this person what you feel? And I'm like, to prepare for that conversation is more stressful than actually being a victim to the situation. So I'd rather just be a victim forever than confront. Kasi nasistress talaga ako. So minsan isisave niya ako, diba? Sabi, fine, kausapin ko siya for you. And then so I'm there sitting down and Slater's talking to this person on my behalf. And then I get so impressed. Like, wow, paano niya naisip yun? Parang everyone leaves the room happy.
Hindi naman all the time. Hindi naman.
Parang everyone leaves the room, nag-gets yung situation, inspired man, or basta walang na-hurt. Tapos kalma lang siya. I'm like, paano? Kung ako yung umiiyak na siguro ako.
I think, sige, maano lang tayo sa topic. The way when I need to talk to someone, whether it's an employee, a partner, or what I'm thinking all the time is we're on the same boat. We want the same things. Like, for example, if it were someone on my team, I'd say, who's underperforming, I'd say, you performing well helps me also. So I'm going to help you perform well. We're on the same team. We want to achieve the same goals. So my objective here is improve your performance. It's not to put you down. It's not to let you feel bad about yourself. But I'm going to let you know what you did wrong and what I feel can be improved so that sabay tayong mag-excel. At it's not 100% foolproof because there are some people who are just happy where they are and yun lang talaga ang gusto nila. That's kind of like what I realized after all of these things. But at least ma-realize nila if we're not on the same page. He or she gets to realize na, ay, hindi pala kami sabay ng wavelength and maybe I'm better suited for another role or hindi kami bagay to work together. Which I perfectly understand. Like, meron talaga ako, I can't work in certain aspects also. So, yeah.
You know what? In a different life, love, hindi ka artista, hindi ka engineer, HR head ka. Guidance counselor.
No, I mean, I try. It's not perfect, but better than shouting.
Yeah, and so now, because I've experienced Slater's speaking for me and it's so effective, I'm like, why do I even talk? Ikaw na lang lagi.
Yes. Marami pa dito actually, pero parang, I think the whole point, ang maganda lang with this generation, it's like, parang mas
aware.
Nilagyan ng word and nilagyan ng description and it's put in front of you so that you kind of like get more aware that these things happen. Meron pang triangulation, meron pang projection, meron pang mga...
Ano yung last?
Infantilization. When someone treats you as if you're much younger than you actually are. To talk to you parang... It's
condescending.
Kind of like, yes. Which happens also. I think there's a lot more to these things. It's the most important part I feel is you kind of know about these things and ang mahirap lang is when we're like in our 20s, we're trying to find out who we are. When we're dealing with these things, mas na-influence kasi tayo. When you're a little bit older, 30, 40, mas nakikita mo na yung, hey, this guy is trying to do something. This guy is not being sincere.
Kasi na-experience mo na rin before. So you know what it feels like to be manipulated na.
So, yes, we go through all of the... Hindi naman kasi natin mapaperfect talaga yung buhay natin na hindi tayo dadaan sa mga kaibigan na ganyan o mga kasama na ganito. I think it's more about like these types of things help you find yourself also. These challenges help you find out who you are.
I think knowing about these things also makes you get over things faster. Like if you're in a breakup, and then na-realize mo, oh my God, this guy used this tactic on me pala. It's faster for you to, okay, get the ball rolling again, move on.
No, I don't think so.
No?
Sorry, I don't agree. Especially when it's like something emotionally charged, hindi mo kasi nakikita agad. Like, for example,
Yeah, but if you know it
manipulated by-
exists, kesa you don't know it exists.
Yeah, it's better that way. But parang, nabablind ka rin kasi. Parang kahit sinabi na, hey, this guy is cheating on you, blah, blah, blah. Pag ayaw mo makinig.
Spoken from experience.
Oo. Pag ayaw mo makinig, ayaw mo talaga kasi you're emotionally blind. Pero, yeah, knowing about these things and taking time to let it sink in, maybe the next experience. I don't know.
Di ba, mapag-over ka na, may isip mo na, okay, emotional blackmail pala yun. Okay, so I know what to look out for next. Di ba? Oo, yun lang na main point ko.
Yes. I think a lot of these things play on us wanting to please the people that we're surrounded with.
Yeah.
I think just trying to digest the true intentions can be difficult, but I'm trying to find an advice I would give to my younger self. Pero parang mahirap din talaga kasi kailangan mo madadaanan. But yeah, you're right. Having it explained and knowing that it's there and giving it's mas vivid kasi siya pag describe na okay, ito yun. Sa atin dati, hindi siya defined. By defining it, mas na iintindihan natin kung anong nangyayari.
And I want to play on what you said, that a lot of it stems from how we want to please people and how we can't take awkwardness. And sometimes when these things happen to us and because it's awkward, it doesn't feel right, we adjust. Diba?
Yes.
That's something that I learned from you na minsan okay lang maging awkward. Kasi kung awkward siya at hindi ka mag-a-adjust, parang things will fall into place. Alam mo yun? Parang if somebody is being passive-aggressive with you but hindi ka papatol, pero confident ka pa rin, parang mag-fall in place lang yun lahat na parang okay, hindi siya pumatol sa akin, so ako na yun awkward, so ako na yun embarrassed. Alam mo yun? Parang don't fall prey to the manipulation tactics. Kasi minsan ayoko talaga ng awkward silence. Or like, if somebody does something to me, hindi ko ma-reciprocate, di ba? Ay, bribery na pala yung, ano yun? Like, yeah. So, sometimes it's okay for things to be awkward or not having to please people all the time.
Yeah.
Don't do anything mean, but, just be okay with awkwardness.
Yes. I think it gives you, instead of a reaction, like parang when this is fed to you and then react ka agad, meron kang one more step of filter na, hey, what, like, may little microsecond of analysis na, ano ba talaga true intentions ito? Why is this happening? Meron time to like, process it before you actually do something. Yeah, I think it can be helpful just because it is defined.